Good evening, Mark. Hi, Ashish.
Hi Nitin. Hi
Hey,
Mark.
miss you
Hi
guys.
everyone. So we wait for a few minutes and then start.
Shut up.
Uh, Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and namaste to all who joined across the globe for today's webinar on Android TV, Grow Your Business with Android TV. I am Tarun Joshi, your host for today's webinar session. Let me wish you all who have joined us today for this session a healthy and wonderful 2021 after a challenging 2020. As we know, Android TV now is a mainstream platform and well adopted by the different partners across the continents. During the last few years, we have seen the exponential growth of Android TV platform across the operators, the retail market. Android TV gives the operator the flexibility and the control to build the next generation gateway into the homes, driven with the video as a primary application and an open middleware strategy enabling the faster rollouts for operators, specific services and monetization opportunities. I'm delighted to be your host for along with a great panel today to share their experience and insight on a key factor driving the successful Android TV launches and deployment at scales, as well as the key monetization opportunities for operator. Joining me on the today's webinar, I have a thought leaders and the industry expert from Google, Airtel, and Tata Elxsi. Some of the key topics and the insight I will elicit from the panel include the Google vision of Android TV and the evolution of the marketplace, the factors leading to early success in the deployment of Android TV, critical levers for launch of Android TV platforms, leveraging the system integration, SI, and technology partners for launch and deployment and monetization, and many more aspects. The esteemed panel member for today's webinar possibly do not need any introduction, as well known in our industry. Many of you know them personally, but let me provide a brief introduction of each panelist. But before that, I'll just give you a quick overview of Airtel. Airtel is a quad play operator offering wireless, wired, and video broadband services along with the DTH services. It's operate in 18 countries and in the fourth largest mobile operator in the world with close to 450 million subscriber. It operates one of the largest pay TV operator service with over 17 million subscribers for its DTH service. So let me welcome Mr. Ashish Ahuja. Hi Ashish.
Thank you. Hi.
Ashish is Chief Marketing Officer at Airtel for its DTH business. He is having more than 15 years of experience in working across the domains like media services, telecom, FMCG, and spearheaded many marketing and go-to-market success stories in his career. Ashish drove the successful launch, communication, and go-to-market of the Android TV-based Airtel Xstream platform, and is instrumental in enabling the digital information journey for DTH services. The next panelist I have, Mark Seidenfield. Many of you know him. Hi, Mark. Mark heads the Android TV business development in Asia Pacific. Mark having more than 20 plus year of experience working across the multiple domains and telcos and media and in medias and in advertising. He has worked across the multiple countries from Russia to UK to States, Czech Republic, and many more. Thanks, Mark, for joining.
My pleasure.
Analyst, my colleague, senior colleague, Nitin Pai. Hi, Nitin.
Hey.
Nitin is Chief Marketing and Strategy Officer at Tata Elxsi. His career spans design, business strategy, and marketing and incubating new businesses. He enjoys applying the design-led thinking strategically to impact the brand and the business. Thank you all for joining today's webinar. But before that, I think it's important to have or maybe we cannot have a session on a video, TV, and monetization without ads, right? So let me start with a very short video introducing Tata Elxsi in the media and Android TV world. I promise that the rest of the session is going to be completely ad-free. So we will start today's discussion. Maybe Mark, we have seen, I'll take the question with the Mark. We have seen in the recently concluded Android TV summit from the Google recently, and we heard many things from the different panelists, including you, Mark, on monetization. So would like to understand how Android TV market evolving and what is Google vision going forward. Maybe if you can give a recap of what been presented on the Android TV session and how you see the things evolving in Asia Pacific, if you can give a good perspective to start with, Mark.
Okay, I'll do my best. So as you're aware, Android TV has progressed quite well in APAC, and most of our concentration now is scaling a few more operators. Most operators in APAC, except for less than a handful who have not adopted Android TV, and a bulk of those have already started scaling. So we're really trying to help the larger operators scale, and not only the larger, to help everyone scale. And really one of our focuses now is helping our operators increase their revenue, because the only way we increase our revenue is if our partners increase their revenue as well. So we're working on monetization, both through advertising. We're looking at expanding, making sure that there's more content and more varied content in the Play Store. So I think there's a real difference this year that we're feeling much more like a mature business and a lot less like a startup, at least definitely in APAC, because of the level of adoption and scaling that's been going on. So that's where we find ourselves. Like I said, going forward is scaling and monetization is the main focuses. Happy to expand on any of that if you'd like.
Oh, thanks, Mark. I'll come back to you, but maybe I'll take a question with Ashish to understand on an operative perspective that we know that Airtel took a decision in 2015, even before many of the operators started thinking of Android TV. Maybe Ashish, if you can give a view why Android TV, why Airtel started with Android TV at that point of time, and what was the thought process. So if you can give some perspective, because it will help many of the partners taking the
Sure.
right decisions and understanding that.
Okay. So I'll tell you what we did at Airtel. I think we used to really study the market very closely in terms of consumer preferences, and we did notice that with with data prices becoming going southward, it had become video viewing had become increasingly very big in India. And of course, we knew that with very good content on OTT platforms, this was really going to be the future of the way consumers consume content. And therefore, being a telecom organization and with presence across, mobile, broadband, and DTH, we thought that it was the perfect, you can say, place to start work on a hybrid set-top box. I think Android TV, being an established open ecosystem supported by big app developers, the community there gave us the advantage of rolling out new features and functionalities faster in the market and giving us scalability, flexibility, and alternate revenue opportunities. And that's why we probably chose Android TV to spearhead this entire project of ours.
Thanks, Ashish. I think that's give a quite clear view that why Android TV. But before going to the another point, Mark, I want to ask you one thing, because many of the partners think that there is a operator platforms on Android TV, and there is a good focus from Google also on a retail market for Android TV, as we are seeing many of the devices are being rolled out by different partners. So how you see the operators versus retail market for Android TV, and can you give some view on that?
Sure. We don't really see this as a competition at all between them. We've done a lot of deep market research across multiple countries around the world. People are very interested in OTT because of the level of flexibility that it gives them. And people do not like OTT because of the level of flexibility it gives them. And what that means is nobody wants to be chasing after a bunch of different bills, invoices, and packages. And they all want to have a single point where they pay their bill, where they get their content from, which is basically what everyone here knows as a cable operator. So we see that in most countries, we see that pay TV is increasing, not decreasing. In APAC, that's especially so. The US market is the one facing the largest decline, but that has to do very much with the unique structure of the US market, which is not really, that doesn't really exist in many other places in the world. So we're seeing, yes, when people buy a TV, they want to get a smart TV. And of course, they want to be able to have that option of, turning on whatever content they want. But they also want to be able to have one aggregator, one person who's answering for everything if you're having a problem receiving your OTT content on your smart TV, what are you going to do? Are you going to call the TV manufacturer? They're not going to be able to help you. On the other hand, if you got your device from Ashish, he's going to answer for that, from end to end. He might blame you on the way, but that's a separate story. But in general, what we find is that people that are using pay TV, that's only growing, and I don't see real competition. It's two separate markets, and we don't really see them competing that much with each other.
Okay, thanks, Mark. It's quite clear, and it's give a clear perspective that how operators are important, what you are saying. So maybe Nitin, I'll come to, there is a specific point with respect to the system integration aspect. As we know that Tata Elxsi is a leading SI and consultant partner with the multiple operator, all the key operators globally. How you see the Android TV evolving and how you see the things happening with the different partners when you are interacting. Can you give some insight on that?
Right. Thanks, Tarun. Yeah, for me, I think Android TV is all about the user, right? And I'm just using that as an acronym. U for me is user experience, simply about a great user experience, a great UI that is seamless for customers and subscribers. The whole aspect of personalization, interaction, whether it's through voice, gesture, and so on, I think it allows you to push boundaries forward in terms of what the whole customer experience is about. The second is about speed, the whole aspect of agility, right? Of innovation, of development, deploying new features. You need that. And I think somewhere Android does provide that flexibility and that speed of innovation for customers. The third on the user list is E, and that's economies, and economies of scale and cost. And for me, I think that's another important point in terms of the rich ecosystem of suppliers that come with pre-qualified hardware that tends to lower the whole cost of customer acquisition of boxes, the rich ecosystem of app developers. And lastly, I think revenue streams, the R of the user comes from revenue streams. And I think the whole ability to provide new revenue streams, whether it's from ads, whether it's from smart home services, you can now start to bundle a lot more that rides on top of the service. Right? So for me, it's really about the user. I like that acronym. So
thanks, Nitin. And that's very well put it as a user, all about user, So, so Ashish, the possibly on a hybrid, because hybrid is a very important aspect, right? And it's a very challenging always when we talk about the hybrid platform. So Airtel Extreme is a very complex and hybrid platform, as we know. And can you help in elaborating some of the point that some of the challenges faced by Airtel and your experience while deployment, development, and how Android TV ecosystem helped that?
Sure. So Airtel was one of the first people who in India who got onto the hybrid platform. And therefore, there were multiple challenges. One was identifying the right partners. I think the overall ecosystem from SOCs to OEMs to third-party apps and various standards were still evolving and were taking a little time to mature. So in this entire environment, another challenge was probably, making DVB and Android coexist in a common platform with CAS and DRM support. These were challenges that we faced. I think developing the complete backend system of managing and monitoring performance of the connected platform was also things that we grappled with, but we of course found our way around before the launch to say that how do we give a great experience to the consumer. I think one of the other things that Airtel also experienced was compatibility with TV screens of various standards. So, that was all a big work that was also involved. But overall, I think as an organization, it was a real enriching and learning experience. And I think we're learning every day. I think the learning doesn't stop, and it's really exciting. At times, we also get a lot of newer problems that we come up with. But I think we always together with all our partners find a way to find solutions and always give consumer the best experience possible.
So, Ashish, that led to me another questions to you.
Sure.
What are the key levers from Airtel perspective from growing the business, and how those lever help? If you can add that specifics.
Sure.
Previous point.
So, India is the landscape of the Indian market is very different. It is primarily comprising of non-smart TVs, which the Indian audiences today have, and therefore one of the key and also a lot of the population is today watching OTT, but watching it on the small screen. So I think these were two big pivots that we understood very quickly, and we pivoted on both these platforms from a communication point of view to say that the Airtel Extreme device was a device which could make your TV a smart TV, because smart TV penetration was very low in India. And therefore there was a huge audience. About 80% plus of India was on non-smart TVs, and therefore they wanted to convert that. Similarly, I think one of the big levers that we've used is our entire convergence platform. Being a telecom player with presence across DTH, broadband, and mobility, I think we've used this to our advantage to be able to really reach out to the consumer and scale this entire proposition up. I think features which are there are also helping us in a big way: voice support, personalization, and a lot of other functionalities which are helping us, really make this opportunity a big opportunity.
Thanks, Ashish. Yes, we are seeing some of the voice and all what you have mentioned is really helping. But maybe I'll just taking me to this to Mark. So Mark, we have seen the Android TV as a mainstream platform, and as Ashish mentioned about the voice and different aspects. So how you see operator can leverage the Android TV for building and growing their business, if you can give some direction.
Okay. So first off, I would say just, on the platform itself, for those who aren't fully up to date, Android TV is extremely competitive cost-wise, meaning obviously we don't charge a license fee, but the hardware cost and even the value that you get for your integration is much, much higher than you can get on any other system, because the basic platform now is quite solid. The features are there. It's a very, very fully featured, as you were mentioning, with voice and other things. But because these basic building blocks are standard, you're not paying anyone to reinvent the wheel for you. So when you come to your system integrator, you're able to spend your budget on getting actual valuable features. So whether that has to do with additional voice features, whether that has to do with advertising, whether that has to do with personalization and dynamic interfaces for your users. In a non-Android TV world, you first need to pay for just generating the custom platform. And then many of these features are not even available. And if they are, they're at an astronomical sum. Whereas Android TV, your entry into the world of Android TV is very, very competitive with any other device. And at the same time, your system integrator is going to be able to help you get a lot of additional features for your budget than you can get otherwise. That said, no, there's, I don't want to take up the whole, the whole session just going through the features of Android TV or the abilities. That's for a different scope. But as you were saying, we have a lot of basic building blocks which can then be customized or featured in the way that makes your particular product offering shine. So when we have 160 live operators worldwide, or 180, whatever it is today, we don't expect to see 1 or 2 or 3 different systems. We expect to see 180 different systems. And each of those 180 different systems should be unique and reflect the brand and the service that each operator is giving. Within that, yes, we have the building block of voice, and it's extremely powerful, but it's also customizable. And then you can add additional functions on there on top of the standard. We have the building blocks for advertising. Does that mean you have to implement it? Does it mean that you're forced in a certain way? No, not at all. We have buy-in from all the major content providers. So you want to make a deal with Netflix, guarantee you it will be easier on Android TV than on any other platform. You want to deal with Hulu, Disney Plus, anyone, again, it's all available, but it's entirely your choice that you'll decide with your department, with your marketing people, with your product people, and with your technical partners, such as an integrator and a vendor, how exactly you would like to build that particular service. So in this way, I think that we really are offering the best of both worlds. You want to get started simple, low cost, and fast, absolutely. And then with unlimited potential to expand and customize your offering.
Mark, you mentioned about the advertisement. So so what are the key monetization opportunities you see for the operator? And just to add, is the addressable advertising on Android TV a possible development for operator? And if you can give that, I know this
Sure.
ad and monetization is your passion, but if you can give that perspective.
Yes. Yeah, many people who know me are probably sick of hearing it from me by now, but since there are hopefully new people on the call that haven't heard this pitch yet. So Android TV, we have an operator can, if they feel that it fits them, they can choose a standard launcher, the Google launcher, and there is a option over there to monetize the home screen, which comes built in. For the people that have the custom launcher, if you don't want to start putting up ads on your home screen, or if you do, it doesn't really matter. We can also offer you the ability to do dynamic insertion in linear. Why is this so important? Why is linear so important, let's say, as opposed to VOD? We're not in any way diminishing VOD. It's just that most operators still have a large majority of their viewing time on linear compared to the viewing time on VOD. Also, a lot of the VOD viewing might be through a Netflix or an Amazon, where even if you have a revenue share from the subscription fee, you do not have any ability to impact any of the advertising there. So when you have a linear feed, when you're broadcasting your channels, we can facilitate the replacement of the broadcasted ad. And very big note, you obviously need to be doing this in partnership with the broadcaster. We're not going to help you steal the broadcaster's airtime. But if you talk to the broadcaster, and we can help with that, you will have a very, very large amount of TV inventory become available that can then be monetized. Android TV has a lot of the basics built in to be able to implement this solution on top of that. And again, and as in most other things that we do in Android TV, we do not force you to monetize in any particular way or fashion. We help you with the building blocks. And then if you'd like to monetize through Google or not through Google, we're still going to help you get that up and running. Obviously, we think that the monetization through Google has a high value. And of course, we're going to at least pitch it to you, but we're not going to force you to do one way or another. We believe that this is one of the, I think a lot of people on this call have heard of large revenues being produced primarily in the US and a few other countries, UK, but we believe that this type of revenue is available worldwide, and we're looking forward to working with anybody who'd like to talk about that.
So Mark, maybe I'll add one specific question on the top of, because that's very key specific topic many of the partners wants to hear. So is Google active to develop this part of the, especially the addressable advertising aspect of the business, the operator who have selected the Android TV, and if yes, how it is, how it can be helped?
Because of the nature of the custom launchers and devices and different standards, it's not something that we can just send you a file and it's going to work on any device anywhere. You really need to be working on this with your technical partner, and that in most cases is going to be your system integrator, or it might be a partner of your system integrator, right? So sometimes your system integrator will gather multiple vendors. So we have a few qualified partners that will be able to get this running very quickly for hybrid. We also have, there's a Google solution for unicast, if you're using unicast. And we also have third-party solutions for both unicast, multicast, and hybrid satellite and cable. Anyone who'd like to can reach out to your integrator. If you're working with Tarun already, then he can give you the information. If you're not, you can still reach out to him. Or you can reach out to me, and I'll be happy to send on some information and do a, and give some more background.
Thanks, Mark. So maybe I'll take the another aspects of the Android TV as a system integrator aspect. So Nitin, so what are the key advantages Tata Elxsi brings as a system integrator, as an Android partner with Google for the operators,
Thanks, Tarun. Maybe I'll just step back, right? Because we first need to understand if operators need us at all. And I believe there is a role for system integrators such as ourselves for the simple 3 C's. I call them 3 C's. I like acronyms, by the way. So first of all, capability, right? Because simply put, you're suddenly demanding a software-centric process, right? You're dealing with open source software. Not all operators are prepared for a software factory model, at least to start with, right? A lot of operators get to build that over a period of time. They understand how to build a CI/CD pipeline, a software factory model, but they're definitely not there to start with, because that's not been their forte and that's not been their focus either. Their focus has been customers, subscribers, revenue, and great service. The second is complexity. And in the case of Airtel itself, I would say, like Ashish mentioned, the ability to get hybrid TV working with linear and with connected, dealing with different types of TVs, the vagaries of the market. These are complexities that you have to deal with as you get to launch. It's nice if you had infinite time to address everything, and you don't. You always work with deadlines, and those deadlines are always a few months, if not years, shorter than what you'd have liked it to be, right? And lastly, I think the third part of the C would be complementary solutions, because like Mark said, you can either go quick, fast, live, simple, but you can also start to layer that with additional services and revenue streams for yourself. So if I look at these three, right, that is really where companies like us come in. And I'm going to go back to the user, right? User experience is still the most important part, right? So award-winning design and UI capability, that's one part of Tata Elxsi. So we're really not just a technology company. We really bring a fantastic award-winning design team that comes with it. We bring industry-leading tools, whether it's for testing, whether it's for quality of experience, whether it's for managing the entire backend in terms of monitoring users, monitoring quality. So that whole aspect of user experience, speed, because obviously we've done this more than once. We are digital native and software native, so we believe that we bring that speed for operators. Economies, and I think once you get enough experience and you're the best in the business, you're obviously going to be fairly economical without having to mention the fact that we work out of India. So that obviously provides an advantage there. And that also includes our own Android Center of Excellence. We've invested a great deal, right? And all that is now on offer to operators that we work with. And lastly, I think the R part is back to revenue streams. What is it that we can bring, including, let's say, opportunities for addressable ads and so on and so forth, that we can help operators with? So I think for me, it's again back to user, but it's really user experience, speed, economies of operation, scale, and deployment, and lastly, revenue streams. And if we can enable this, I think this is really what gets operators going.
Thanks, Nitin. That's very clear with the 3C and how user aspects can really bring into the delivering the platform. So Ashish, maybe on a SI aspect, you have a leading SI partners in delivering the Android TV platform, as we know, and how important a SI role for delivering an Android TV platform, if you can give some lights on, if you could put some lights on it.
Sure. I think with the level of digitization that's happening in India, and how the connected set-top box is becoming a very, very powerful device. It is enabling not only linear and OTT platforms, but also in the future supporting smart home and IoT functionalities. I think what we're seeing is the consumers becoming more and more demanding day by day, and it becomes very important to have a stable partner as an SI. Who can support us in scaling up of the platform, create tools that can manage and monitor performance, and also more importantly, support quick rollout of new features and functionalities, because this keep coming to us every, and I'm not joking about this, but every day we learn so many new things and so many new needs that the consumer has. And I think we're in constant touch with our SI, which is you, and to try and build new functionalities to offer better consumer experience. I think Tata Elxsi in that respect has played a very key role in the successful rollout of our STB platform, and we're very happy to be associated with Tata Elxsi there.
Thank you, Ashish.
Thanks, Ashish. So Mark, that may lead to maybe another very open, we heard something about 100 million devices. So your comment, please, on that.
I cannot confirm or deny. The different ways to look for, Google, I think, is pretty famous for being tight-lipped about things like this. One of the ways to look is you look at how many downloads for system software in the Play Store. So almost every app in the Play Store says how many downloads there have been. So you look for an Android TV specific, like let's say YouTube for Android TV or something like that. So we passed the 50 million a long time ago. Unfortunately, it doesn't update until there's already been 100 million. I wouldn't be surprised if that number changes over the next few months.
Okay, thanks, Mark.
If I can just add to that, if you're hearing this rumor, that means that the publishers and app developers must be aware of it as well, which means that I know that you had asked me about the Play Store and how many apps we have and the variety of different types of apps. Yeah, any developer who believes that, that this number is coming up shortly is probably, number one, kicking themselves that they didn't start developing for Android TV earlier. But I think that this year there's going to be a huge increase in the quantity and the variety of apps, games, and anything else you can think of for Android TV.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. We have seen from many of our OTT partners whom we are working a very strong focus on an Android TV platform. So it's echoing what you are saying, and we are seeing this in the market. So very key aspects is the managing the devices in the field. So Nitin, we heard about the data-driven accelerators like ICAX and for managing the field devices and other automation platform. How you see these accelerator help the partners in deploying and giving the user, as you mentioned, experience to the customers.
Right. No, I think what fundamentally has changed with connected experiences, with connected boxes and so on, I think it's brought various functions of the operator organization much more tightly integrated. Because if you think about DTH by itself, you would have a deploy, and then you would have an ops team that manages deployments. They do whatever they can to monitor. There's a separate customer care center which receives calls about anything that fails. And you route it back to your operations team. They kind of figure out where the problem is, they triage and so on. Marketing works completely independently because they only know how many boxes are sold and how many users there are. And then you're going independently about figuring out how to make money, right? I think the beauty of a connected experience, I think it makes the whole circle seamless. Once you put in a robust solution in the back end that allows you to monitor deployment, you're first of all solving the customer experience piece. Because at times, the operator knows even before the customer does about any issues that you're going to be experiencing in your service. And you can now use software updates and mechanisms to correct that. So you no longer have to worry about truck rolls and so on. You've cut down the need for customer care. You've improved customer care in the first place by making it proactive, right? But really, a lot of that data is rich enough for marketing to mine in terms of viewership, in terms of what is being viewed, what kind of devices, what kind of TVs, what kind of viewership geographically, demographically, and so on and so forth. So it's now possible to combine your subscriber information with very rich information that's coming about usage. Of course, with due care for privacy, for anonymity, and so on and so forth. That's paramount, right? And you all heard of what's happening with Signal and so on. So we definitely don't want to get into that area at all, right? In terms of data privacy and so on and so forth. But having said that, that ability to mine that information, to deliver greater customer care, more proactive customer experience, but more importantly, finding those avenues for monetization. I think for me, that's the power. And that is why we built that whole ICX product, right? That whole integrated customer experience product for us is not an ops tool. It's not a customer care tool. It's not a marketing tool. It's really a data-driven organizational tool.
Right. So overall, in summary, what you are saying that it's really helping in managing the life cycle of customers. Is this a correct statement?
I would like to say that. I definitely believe that. Of course, I would like Ashish to tick off on that too, right? So, because the proof is the pudding, but I believe it's been a wonderful experience working with the Airtel team, right? In terms of making sure that you work with each otherwise so-called silo or a function within an operator organization, and then seeing how this brings things together, how this allows teams to collaborate just to make sure that you can drive various themes, customer experience, customer insights, better experience. So I see that happening.
Okay, thanks. So I'm seeing the clock ticking fast and possibly to asking me to move to Q&A, but I have many more questions and many points to discuss because it's a very interesting field But one, maybe the last question before we move to the Q&A, and I want to hear from Airtel and Ashish's view that what Airtel and operator perspective are the key factors for a successful Android launch and deployment. So Ashish, if you can give your perspective.
Okay, India being the country that India is, I think, the consumer is constantly somebody who's more demanding and value seeking. He wants value at every step. I think, given this understanding, it was very important to identify the right partner ecosystem that we would have to develop a cost-effective, scalable, and a stable connected platform. And also, of course, like what Nitin just mentioned, providing great customer experience, not only during installation, but after sales support, because what we've always understood is that word of mouth in this category is one of the biggest drivers of trial for new consumers, and therefore it's very important that the entire experience is amazing, because if it isn't, then bad word of mouth travels even faster, and therefore that's one of the key factors for a successful Android launch, which we've seen.
Thanks, Ashish. So with this, I'll move to the Q&A session. Thanks for overwhelming response on questions while registering from various viewers, and we are taking some of the questions out of question has been posted so far. So maybe I'll take maybe one or two questions each for each panelist. So maybe I'll start with the Mark. Mark, the question is, what is the typical process to start a project on Android TV, and is any agreement required for operator or OEM, and do these agreements expect any monetary aspects? So if you can comment.
Mark, I think you're mute. So just me had on mute.
Sorry about that. So Google does not take any payment for the use of Android TV. I'll get that very clear. The process for starting Android TV is choosing your vendor and your partner. So you choose your vendor for the device, you choose your SI, and there is no contract with Google. As a matter of fact, it's not even offered by us. The contract that we don't have a contract with the SI either. We have a contract with the device manufacturer, which works as follows. We give the device manufacturer a license to distribute Android TV on their devices, and the manufacturer obligates themselves to deliver an additional 3 upgrades. So if you launch on Android 11, then the vendor is obligated for 12, 13, and 14, or at least 2 out of the 3 of those, which means that and if they do not fulfill this obligation, they run the risk of losing their license with us. And we will always side with the operator and help the operator make sure that the vendor fulfills their obligations on this. So we just don't see the need for any additional paperwork or any additional, because we're not asking the operator for anything. The operator doesn't owe us anything. We may offer additional partnerships that might require a different contract. So if you're going to monetize your ad inventory through Google, then my colleagues over on a Google ad team might sign a contract with you for that particular engagement. There might be multiple other similar types of things, but Android TV in and of itself requires no payment, no obligation, and it's between you and your suppliers.
Okay, thanks, Mark. So, Mark, there are many questions for you, but I'll go to maybe I'll take the question with Ashish. Ashish, there is one question where a partner is asking: broadband is a key for Android experience, right? And being the challenges in India, the broadband issues, can you please share the Airtel experience on Android TV?
Sure. I don't think broadband, anymore is an issue in India. I think there's a lot of focus from the government on digitization. I think also what's happening is that all the major telcos are doing massive rollout of fiber network, and we're going to be seeing more than 1,000 cities which are going to be wired. And this is going to lead to a lot of households being exposed to broadband. Uh, Already with for work from home and study from home has led to a huge growth in the number of households that have happened this year, and we only see that this number will keep growing given the amount of fiber network rollout that a lot of the players are doing right now.
Okay, thanks, Ashi. So maybe I'll take a question with Nitin. Nitin, Google recently enabled the broadcast stack and launched the broadcast stack as a part of the Android TV stack. What is Tata Elxsi's plans now to provide the Google stack with Android TV solution, and how you see this benefit the partners?
Right. No, I think Mark did mention this, right? And if you look at the signature, I think the signature of Google has been to look at what stops or what hinders successful adoption, launch, and deployment, and then try and see how that can be addressed, right? So one way to address that is, of course, through an ecosystem of partners that you bring in and make sure they're available, they are accessible, and so on. I think second is, in certain cases, they've taken the step of making sure that that is provided from Google side itself. And for me, DVBS and that stack is one element of that facilitation or that enablement, if you may. And we are very clear too that where we see such components, blocks, enablement being provided, our first job is to make sure that that is validated. We are able to successfully ingest it into our offering, make sure that it works seamlessly, and then we would go out and offer it to customers, right? So I think in that sense, we would like to stay at the tip of the trunk as much as Google would like each of its partners to be, right? And the only deal at all would be the fact that we need to make sure that we stand by what we offer to other customers, make sure that it's tested, validated, confirmed, integrated right, and then go ahead and offer it.
Thanks, Nitin. So maybe I'll take a very interesting question, and we have seen many times with many of the partners asking on a Google. So Mark, question for you. The user would like to know your view on a data aspects, especially the security, confidentiality, and access to Google on Android TV platform. So can you comment on those data aspects?
Absolutely. So Google knows what's happening on Android TV, but it does not know what's happening inside individual apps, which means that we know that you launched Netflix. We have no idea what you watched inside Netflix. Now, an operator launcher is an app. So we know that someone is in the operator environment. We have no idea what they do inside that operator environment. So all of your VOD, all of your linear channels, we have no clue what your customer is doing. And when we built the system, we purposely left out such mechanisms. It's entirely up to the operator obviously the operator also cannot know what's happening inside of a third-party app. So you won't know what's happening inside of Netflix, but you will have access to pretty much the same information that we do to know what apps have been launched and the duration of usage of those apps. There are also a number of tools that we have that your technical partner might have to have additional and deeper levels of statistics and things like that, but that's entirely up to the operator to do as they feel is needed and acceptable by their market, and following all local rules and regulations. Again, we are very limited in the information that we even theoretically have the capability of gathering, and we do not plan on changing that.
Okay, thanks, Mark. So maybe the next question I'll pick for Ashish. So Ashish, what would you do something differently if you were launching the services now as a first time, and your advice, your friendly warnings to the operator who are seriously considering the Android TV for the first time?
What would I do differently? Okay, that's a very interesting question. I think I think we would really work a lot towards building a better a stronger ecosystem around us. I think that's what's happened now, and therefore that's a lot different for us today than what it was probably a year ago or 2-3 years ago, which was there. So I think a far more closer working with the ecosystem would be something that would be different. We didn't start off with a lot of monetization opportunities earlier, but now we have. And I think that's something that I think we would have changed significantly when we do it the other way around now. So I think those are the two big changes that I would have done, because we sort of took emphasized on speed earlier, but I think that's the two things that I would change, which we already have, but would have done differently.
Thanks, Ashish. Maybe a last question, because we are short of time. So maybe I'll ask Nitin. Nitin, Tata Elxsi working across the domains of media, automotive, medical, and how you see TE experience with Android platform as a whole.
Okay. Yeah, no. So I think it's interesting to see how we have seen Android as a, if I may call it, an operating system penetrate multiple markets, right? And TV has been the first for us. Or mobile was first, really. And we started working with mobile phone companies to help them with their Android ports and so on. The second was TV. But actually that followed up very quickly with Android Auto. Because we did see fairly great penetration of Android Auto into cars, simply because if you think about the car, it's getting very similar. It's user experience, it's interactivity, it's content, it's apps in the car. And you get that same value of rich ecosystem, fairly robust operating system that you can deploy for everything minus anything that has to work absolutely real time and is safety critical. So we've seen that adoption fairly significantly. We work with multiple OEMs across the world, right, including some luxury car companies. And we're seeing Android being picked up very, very well there. Medical has been a bit of a interesting journey. Why? Because on one hand, you have telemedicine, and the whole 2020 COVID and so on has made sure that people don't want to visit a hospital unless they really, really have to. And obviously, you're going to interact with doctors. You're going to use video a lot more. You're going to use teleconsultation a lot more. And I think we've seen a lot of work happen on Android platforms there. The other part that we saw Android in medical, very interestingly, is for very specific conditions, including certain implants, etc., that you wear, which have to be controlled. A lot of the medical device companies used to give you an accompanying device, which was a custom device. You've actually seen a lot of that change to Android phones. Very interesting. So you now get an app on the phone, and that becomes your connectivity to managing and monitoring your condition, rather than that custom device that used to be given by the device manufacturer. So it's very interesting to see that that industry switch to open systems too.
Thanks, Nitin. So the clock says now that it's a closing time. So Ashish, Mark, and Nitin, thanks for sharing your thoughts and insight and providing insights into how Android TV helps and enabling the business growth. And it's very informative, and it's give a very clear perspective from a different viewpoints. In summary, definitely I can say that Android TV's vast established ecosystem, Android roadmap, flexibility for scaling, and the monetization opportunity is really helping in growing the business fast. Thanks to all the participants for joining today's webinar. Those who joined later and missed the initial part of the webinar, a catch-up will be available, and we will be communicating the details over the mail. Thanks once again to all the panel members and the viewers for spending their valuable time with us. And with this, we close the session. Thank you once again. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tarun. Ashish.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Ashish. Thanks, Mark. And thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.